Well, crap. So you've been diagnosed as bipolar. There's probably a lot of things running through your head like, why me? Or maybe they got it wrong. I'm not mentally ill. Or maybe even something along the lines of, wow, a lot of things actually make sense now. Well, whatever your thought process is, I'm sure it isn't puppies and rainbows at the moment. So now what, right? I mean, where the hell do we go from here? That's probably floating around in there too. So this is going to be an awesome multi-part series, and you're going to learn a lot about bipolar disorder. So please remember to subscribe so you don't miss on something that could really impact your life. So the first step that I think is really important is getting to know this monster, like up close and personal. But unfortunately, a lot of people run from monsters. They don't face them. For myself, it took me basically the better half of a decade to get tired enough of running and finally accept a new and scary reality for me, that this is basically the way I am and potentially will be for the rest of my life. That's not something that's really easy for all of us to accept. On a semi-positive note, it's easier than ever with the age of information to find out about this monster. But a lot of us need to be stable to even handle some Google searches. It literally can be that debilitating. So if you're not up to the challenge at the moment, don't be afraid to ask for some help, and please don't wait, because life is so short. Don't waste any time. Let someone you care about know what's going on and see if they're willing to do some digging for you and get back to you with some info on where to go and how to get help. That's basically how I started. I was in a ball of snot and tears, shaking and begging someone close to me to just help make it stop. The alcohol and pills basically just weren't strong enough to numb it anymore, so they did help. They got some books, they made some calls, networked with my family and friends, and it took a lot of work, but it was basically work that I just wasn't able to do myself at the time. So sometimes asking for help is imperative for someone with a new bipolar diagnosis. And again, it took me a while to reach rock bottom and ask for it. Now, if you're the loved one of someone with bipolar and you're watching this video, or maybe they sent you this video, you don't have to wait for them to ask. You can dive right in and start learning about this illness. And that knowledge is not only going to help them, but it'll also help you to not take the behavior so personally and to know why we do what we do sometimes. So getting to know this monster that finally had a name was basically when the real adventure started, and we'll get into that. For now, I think the best place to start is just knowing the different types or facets that will go with the disorder, because the more you know about it, the easier it'll be to say, I see what's happening here. This isn't me doing the thinking or talking. Wait a minute, this is that damn pesky bipolar disorder that some doctor slapped down on my chart, and that's unfortunately part of my reality now. We're going to cover bipolar type 1, type 2, cyclothymia, rapid cycling, depression and mania, paranoia, agitation, psychosis, anxiety, and so much more in this multi-part series. Because the more you know about it, the more certain things might start to make sense in your life, and the more people are going to start talking to the person that they love instead of just talking to the bipolar disorder all the time. And on a huge plus side, it'll be way easier to recognize the symptoms before you're staring up at a hospital ceiling strapped to a gurney, or worse yet, looking through the cold steel bars of a jail cell. Yup. I've been in both places, and it fucking sucked, and it doesn't have to go that far if you jump on it right now. So a doctor might have diagnosed you, but that does not mean that they are qualified to treat bipolar disorder because they read about it once in a book, or they might have seen a few patients. They really need to know their shit, and it's imperative that your diagnosis is clear, correct, and right on the money, or you're going to keep going in circles. Don't be intimidated by some guy with a degree in a white jacket, or by getting a second or third opinion. Bring a list of questions and grill them. I mean, find out where they went to school, how many bipolar patients are under their care, if they have the time to dedicate to you, and not just a once-a-month 30-minute check-in. What experience they have with managing and prescribing meds. That's a huge one. And use your instincts. Make sure it's someone that you feel comfortable and connected with, because this person is literally going to be responsible for your care and ultimately your future and even life. This is a huge decision. Don't just go with the flow, and there are a lot of shitty doctors out there, so please don't be discouraged if your county is famous for poor mental health, like many of the ones that I've lived in. you might have to travel to the nearest large city, and remember that you're worth it and you deserve the best care that you can get in a serious situation like this. Now, please don't just sit there nodding your head and going, okay, this guy has some good ideas. Do something about it, please. And if you can't, like I said, ask for help. So many people who are diagnosed are literally just sent home with a pamphlet and a pocket full of whatever drug samples some pharmacy rep dropped off recently. And mind you, that's if they even get the right diagnosis in the first place. 20 to 30% of people are misdiagnosed with general depression when they're actually in fact bipolar. They're often given extremely limited and inadequate explanations of what it really means to be bipolar. And this goes for partners too. They aren't given any resources to know what crucial role that they can play in our treatment. Crucial. I've given books to friends before, and the next thing I know, their wife is calling me pissed and saying, well, how come the doctor never told me this stuff? I mean, it could have prevented so much damage a long time ago. It's just incredible, the misinformation or lack of information that's out there, because most doctors are just general practitioners, which means they kind of read a little bit about everything and they're doing the best they can to help the masses. We need to see a specialist because this is a serious, lifelong, life-threatening illness. Now, our partners, or those of us that are the closest to us, can sometimes end up taking the brunt of the illness. And they can also notice things way before we can. So it is so important that they become educated and are a part of the care process. They can spot a depressive or manic cycle that we're just totally blind to. And making sure that they're well informed can almost be as important as finding the right doctor, because after all, your spouse or your family, they're the ones who are actually around you all the time, not the doctors. Your family or spouse see what's going on behind closed doors, like the things that you say or how much you've been sleeping, if substance abuse or drinking has increased, or if appetite has decreased, basically everything. So all that being said, once you have a diagnosis, it's beyond important to hit the books and jump online, join some support groups or online forums, start getting educated, because this is your life, not just something you want to hand over to some unknown doctor and expect them to care for it as much as you do. Unfortunately, in today's world where drug companies rule and doctors are rushed to get patients in and out, you really have to take charge of your own care. And if you can't, ask for help. Like I said, I needed help filling out the most basic medical paperwork, because at the time of my diagnosis, I was in a place where I couldn't even do that. Ask for help, and also know that what you're asking for is quite a lot from someone. So if they say no, it's not that they're a bad friend or they don't care about you. The fact that they're doing you a big favor by being honest that you won't get the right or best care with them is a really good thing. So keep asking until you find someone who's willing to basically take on a burden like that and help you take on this monster. The diagnosis is a huge and important step. This is just the beginning of a lifelong journey. And in the next video, we're going to start getting into the different types of bipolar disorder and some of the most common symptoms that go along with these types. So this way you'll know basically what to watch out for and be a lot more informed on the specifics of each facet of bipolar disorder. If you educate yourself and you treat the bipolar disorder first, the rest will just start falling right into place eventually, I promise. Thank you so much for watching and being here with me. I really appreciate it. If this is your first time on my channel, welcome to Polar Warriors. We are completely dedicated to helping those who are living the bipolar experience to live a more happy, fulfilling, and peaceful life. Anyways, take care, stay well, and hopefully we'll see you here for the next Polar Warrior video.